Hi, my name is Jess and this is episode 13 of the Knitting on Sweater Avenue knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about what I have been knitting, what I'm currently knitting, and sometimes I go into a few of my new acquisitions or stuff that I want to cast on. This is my first episode back in the new year. Happy 2025. It is the end of January, but it's been a pretty busy month with lots of it's summer here in Australia, and so we've had just a lot on because this is when we tend to go big or go home. I guess this is our big summer holidays, and so we just had a lot on. I've got a lot of finished objects. I'm going to go through all of the finished things I finished since my last podcast. I did film a few Vlogmas episodes, but I think they were just so you saw some of the things that I finished, but they were just sort of how much I knit in a week essentially, and I wanted to go a bit more specifically into the actual things I finished and how they've gone. I am wearing my Bella blocking by Anne Ventzel that I finished towards the end of last year, and I was perfectly comfortable in it until I started filming, and now I'm getting really warm, probably because I'm sitting right next to the window. I'm trying a different filming location, and I swear this plant does look better from a different angle, but we spun it because it's like leaning towards the light because it's in the corner. Anyway, we're seeing how it goes. He's fine, I swear, even though he looks a little random. But I've got a lot of finished objects to show you, a couple of whips that I've made some progress on, and some new whips that I've cast on. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about was towards the end of last year, I had a bit of a goal to try and clear my needles, finish off a few of my projects. And as you will see here, I did not succeed at finishing all my projects, but I finished a fair few, and I didn't cast on too much until I, till I finished a few of those. And so I'm feeling pretty good, and a few of the others are getting closer to completion. So let's get started. I'm going to start with this. I think I've shown a lot of this. This is my, I guess essentially my Sophie shawl by Petite Knit, but I just assumed what I thought the increase rate would be because I have the Sophie scarf pattern. And this is using the leftovers I had from my Monday sweater, also by Petite Knit, which is the Pasley Knits suri in the colour Milky Way, and the some knitting for olive merino in the colour blue tit. And I love this. I think it's so groovy. I used a 4.5mm needle, and I knit till I'd used half the yarn or a little bit more, and then I decreased. I changed the decreases to a knit two together from whatever it said in the pattern, which is not knit two together. And I'm happy with that. And yeah, no, this is really cute. Obviously I finished it going into summer, so I haven't worn it very much, but I think it will definitely get worn, and I can wear it as a little combo with the jumper, which I think looks very cute. So that's my first finished object. I ended up actually having to undo a bit of my swatch from my Monday sweater in order to finish this. So the end ended up being quite, well, luckily you can't tell, but it had quite a lot of sort of end weaving to go in just so I could finish it off. But yeah, definitely a success, that one. And that's my first finished object. Next, and actually a little bit more recently, I have finished my socks for my partner. These were just, I always have a pair of socks on the go, and so one of my new whips is a new pair of socks. And it looks like I haven't actually weaved my ends in. Oh no, I have. Okay. But these are using a hand-dyed yarn from the Black Wattle Fibers, which is a yarn company based near Canberra in Australia. And it was a sock set which came with actually both of these, sort of a navy and the rust colour. And I think they're a really cute sock. I just followed the Crazy Sock Ladies socks on 9-inch circulars, but I do a 2x2 ribbed cast on. And then I didn't do anything fancy with these ones, did I? Oh yeah, no, that looks like, I tried doing a, garter stitch side on the heel, but it seems to have had, it's very hard to see in this navy, can maybe sort of see it looks kind of, and it doesn't even look that good. But I learnt from this one, and then for my dad's socks, which I knit, I like paused on one of these and knit both my dad's socks for Christmas. I did more garter stitch, and I think that one worked better. And you could see it because it wasn't navy. Anyway, I haven't actually blocked these, but they're looking all right. And so he hasn't worn them yet. And again, it's summer, so he's unlikely to wear them for a little bit. But yeah, he likes them, and he chose what he wanted for the heels, cuffs, and toes. So yeah, that's another finished object. I'm gonna take this off. I'm actually so warm. I have to take my glasses off. All right, there you go. All right, on to my two main finished objects, one of which I must have been pretty close in the last video. But this is my Lyon sweater by Petite Knit in the 3rd size. I followed the pattern exactly, other than I changed the number of stitches where you did the increases to sort of make these wider panels, because I wanted it to look a little bit more like the sibling sweater by Laura Penrose. And the other thing I've done is I did combination knitting for my ribbing, which made it a little bit tighter. So I wrapped the pearls the other way when I was purling for the ribbing. So I did that on all of it. This yarn is another Pasley Knits hand dyed. This is actually the Athena colorway from the Greek Gods collection, I presume, in the Superwash DK base. And it's interesting. It's quite heavy. I don't think that I will knit another all superwash jumper. I really like my superwash tanks. They work really well. They're fingering weight. But I don't know. It just feels heavy. And when I was blocking it, I had to really deliberately make sure that the sleeves weren't too long, and that I smushed them up because they were sort of sagging, for lack of a better word. So that's, yeah, I think it'll be okay. I'll be interested to see how it wears, because it's I definitely could have knitted a bit shorter, for example. And I haven't put elastic in the neck yet, but I think I will. But at the moment it looks really lovely. So I'm hoping that it will be all right, and I probably will just have to be a bit careful when washing it. Because yeah, I think superwash obviously has the potential capacity to get very, to grow a lot. The other thing, I have actually managed to wear it because of sort of the way that it is. It's not as snuggly and warm, so it's been all right. It's been pretty nice for some of those cooler days that we've been having here in Melbourne. I've been able to pop it on, even though we are in the middle of summer here. Melbourne's a weird place. You get a lot of different weathers. And last, I think, but not least of my finished objects. Oh, this is going to be wonderful to see. Apologies. This is my April cardigan by Petite Knit. I would like to note that I don't have, I'll talk about this later, but not that many Petite Knit patterns to go, I swear. This is a dream. I knit this in with the designated needle size. I used 1 strand of Knitting for Olive merino in the liquorice, I think, and 1 strand of fyberspates cumulus in Noir. And I just love it. I think I had 4 balls of the merino and 7 of the Noir. And I had a weird thing actually, where Knitting for Olive merino is meant to be 235 meters long, or 250 meters, I think, roughly. And the fyberspates cumulus is meant to be 150, I think. And I kept 2 balls of cumulus was exactly matching to 1 ball of merino. And that makes no sense, because 2 balls of cumulus should be 300 meters and the merino should be 250 meters. And so I have no idea, but on more than one occasion, I was finishing them within the space of those 2 strands were, a meter different when they should be 50 meters different. So that was kind of weird, but I had enough yarn, so it was not an issue. I don't think I did the ribbing quite long enough. Not that you can really, maybe you can see the ribbing. Maybe it's not too bad. So I did sort of I think 8 centimeters of ribbing and you're meant to have 10, something like that. And then I did a double knit button band. I followed just a random video on YouTube, which was really nice. And there's been a few patterns I've done recently where they have the, it's vertical buttonholes with no cut, like sort of so that you don't have to cut the yarn. Often with a double knit button band, if you're doing your buttonholes, you have to cut the yarn because you sort of knit up the one side and knit up the other side and then go back together. Whereas this is a technique to avoid doing that, which I am a fan of. The button band took ages. You have to go all the way around. It felt like it was taking forever, but I'm really happy that I did that instead of the pattern which had you do a ribbed button band, because I just think the double knit looks amazing. And I'm very happy with how it's got a bit of a lip. I haven't actually blocked this yet because we've had someone staying, and so I normally block on our spare room bed and it was not available, so they've left, so I will probably block this weekend, but I have already worn this repeatedly. Cardigans I find very versatile. I have not knit many because I don't like knitting back and forth, but I've got another one I'm definitely going to knit, and I would knit this again, absolutely. It's such a winner and it fits very nicely. I mean, it's not that helpful because A, it's not blocked, and B, it's black and this is blue, but I'm really happy with like sort of the shoulder, and even though I haven't put buttons on yet, I sort of probably wouldn't button it up very much, and I realize you can only see it to here, but it's just a very nice clean fit and it goes really nicely. And I like the way that the back well, this side's easy to see, but it's pretty smooth and nice. So that is, yeah, I'm very happy with that finished object. It was definitely a product knit and I'm very happy with the product. So those are all of my finished objects. I realize I can see one of my works in progress over here, so I'm going to just like cut this and grab that and then come back to show you all of my whips. Okay, whips. I have 2 that you've seen and 3 new cast-ons since I last filmed, but I've made a lot of progress, so I'm feeling pretty good. This one is the closest to being finished, and it's sort of my top priority / the one that I'm kind of not the happiest with at the moment, which is like, because I just want to finish it to see if it's going to be okay. I don't know. This is the Selene sweater by Anne Ventzel, and I've made a few modifications. This is using each of the different things is using 3 strands of isager. The brown has 2 strands of mohair and 1 strand of isager tweed, and then the sort of creamy one is 2 strands of mohair and 1 strand of isager tvinni. And I love the yarn. I think it looks stunning. I really like the color work. I feel like I need to sneeze. Okay. And I am in the middle. I've got one more decrease before I do the ribbing for this sleeve. I've made a few mods to this. I cast on, it has you cast on and do the ribbing for the neckline before you go out to doing the color work. I didn't do that because I wanted to knit the thing and then see how the ribbing would go. I made just sort of some weird errors throughout, and I ended up with the wrong stitch count, but I decided it was fine. And I also switched some of the increases towards the bottom I turned them into raglan increases because I'd seen a few examples where there was sort of a kind of like a puff here just before it split for sleeves, and I was trying to avoid that. And I think I have avoided that. I'm sort of happy with how it's not blocked, and I'm happy with how the sleeve is looking. I've also, the sleeve is not for you to, the sleeve pattern is not normally regular decreases, but I've chosen to do regular decreases. It has more like sort of bands of decreasing, more similar to Bella blocking. I did like that one there, although I just sort of did knit 2 togethers when I did that one, and I prefer a more tapered sleeve, so I'm going to see how that goes. But the thing that is bothering me at the moment is that when I try it on, I'm getting the neckline's too high, kind of, I don't know what the term is, like that's what it looks like, and I don't really know what to do about it. So I'm trying to work out whether or not, so I've done one sleeve and I've I've done the ribbing at the front. I'm doing a split hem, but I haven't done the ribbing at the back because I was bored. So I decided to move on to a sleeve. But I'm wondering if I pick up the neckline and sort of add some more short rows. So I've added, the pattern had you add short rows below at the back. And I'm wondering if I pick up and add some sort of short rows in ribbing on the neck to try and bring that up a bit more, sort of encourage it to sit more like this. Or maybe I just need to, I'm also wondering if blocking will help. I just don't know. So that's my current crisis, and part of the reason that I'm just like, I don't know if it's gonna look any good when I finished it. I've put so much effort in. The color work is just stunning and I really like it and I wanna wear it, and I'm just a little bit bummed. So that's this one. I'm knitting the second sides, although I have screwed with the stitch numbers because I'm a bit of a silly goose and I can't read. And that has been a problem I've had with Anne Ventzel patterns before, is I'm just not very good at reading. I find the patterns kind of confusing, but obviously the color work is fine. Although I'm hoping the blocking will fix. I don't know if you can definitely see these sort of ridges here, but it's got, you know, I reckon that I need to just maybe do a bit of a more aggressive block. So do this sleeve, do the neck, do the back ribbing, do the other sleeve. I'm hoping to finish it, not like before next weekend, ideally, because I would like to cast on something new next weekend, and because my friend is bringing me some yarn and I want to use it straight away. And so I've said if I've finished this, then I can, because then I will be actually pretty chilling, to be honest. Just you wait, I've been killing it. So yes, that's my current sort of, it's all stockinette at the moment, so it's pretty easy. And so I've been doing that whenever I have the time. My next project, I just sort of randomly cast this on, and you have actually already seen it. This is my storm sweater, and I've done the body. Like, what? The body is done. I'm in the middle of the neck ribbing. I love it. I'm so excited for this. This just, like, I don't quite know how it got so much progress, but it's just fantastic. This is the storm sweater by Petite Knit. Is that my last Petite Knit pattern for the day? Yes. And it's my last Petite Knit pattern that's like in my I want to knit list, which is long and getting longer by the day. Strictly speaking, it's the storm sweater man pattern because that's the one I have, but I've made a few edits. So this is using sandnesgarn double Sunday and tin silk mohair in the like foresty green color. All of that meaningful information will be in the description below, and if I've forgotten, please feel free to ask. But I have knit this on a 4.5mm needle, and so therefore I knit the extra small. And I did that because I knit the Moby sweater using Peer Gynt on a 4mm needle for my partner, and it was just so dense. And I was like, I don't need it to be that dense. And so I did a little swatch on 4.5mm needles, and I decided I really liked the yarn, and so then I just went down a size. And I think it's just fabulous. I'm gonna match with my dad, who also, my mum has knit, he didn't knit it, but my mum knit a storm sweater for him. And we're gonna be cute and matching, and I love that. And it's just, oh, I really like it. I think I did one less motif than the pattern said, or two less. I don't know, but I kept trying it on to make sure it was the right size. And I'm happy with the number of motifs I've had. Like, I feel like it's got 4 patterns, and I've done each of them twice. So I think that's fine. But the only other thing I've done is I have chosen to do a 2x1 rib on the hem and everything else. That's the one. And then I just did a regular knit the stitches as they appear and bind off. And so all around the neck, I've also done a 2x1 rib. I just love doing a different rib than the pattern says. 1x1 ribbing, don't like it. I like trying to do other ones, and I like how they end up. So that's how this is going, which is great. And yeah, it's pretty oversized. As you can see, it's going well over my shoulder. Means the sleeves will be short, no problems there. But overall, I'm just really happy with the yarn and the fit it's going to be sort of comfy, cozy, slouchy, and that's what I wanted it to be, and that's what I thought it would be. Sort of a bit similar to my Ingrid sweater, although that one is alpaca, which is a little more difficult. But yeah, no, I am stoked. I think it's so lovely. Sorry, I just keep holding it up because I think it's so cool and I'm just so excited with it. So yes, that is a very big success, and I'm really pleased with how that one's going. Very briefly and in between, and this is part of my, I would say, quite meager acquisitions. I bought a mini skein to go with my yarn. So this is a sock following the Crazy Sock Ladies 9-inch circular pattern. I just do that again and again. I like the way it works. This top bit is the yellow yarn that came out before my dad's P effect socks. Like there was a bit of yellow you had to pull out to then get to the thing so that you'd get a pair of matching socks. And I saved it and I was like, I'm going to use it. And then this yarn is the remainder of knitting my sister her socks, which I knit her not for Christmas this year, but last year. And so this is the Pasley Knits Best Gal Pal? No, I think that's red. Maybe it is Best Gal Pal. Yellow. And I think it's super cute. And then but I knew like I only had a little dash of this. And so then I bought a mini skein to match. So let me get one of the skeins out. So yeah, that's the yarn, and then this is the mini skein. Obviously it looks like a lot of it because there's not that much yarn. And this mini skein is the Sally Ridgway Designs 4-ply Supreme Sock mini skein in the color Buttercorn. And I just found Sally Ridgway on the internet. I just looked up different yarns. Like I was just looking for mini skeins because that's what I wanted. And I found this and it looked like a nice yellow, and it comes from Australia. And so I thought that was a win on all fronts. And so I have just started the heel on this one. So I've done a 30 row, so 20 row cuff, 30 row leg, and then I'm starting my heel. I've done a bit, this is similar to what I've been doing for Ben and my dad, which is that I've done a slightly wider heel flap. So this is not 50-50. And so I just need to make sure that when I then go to do the decreases in the future, I will need to move my markers. And so, yeah, that's what I have to remember to do, but that's how that one's going. One slight note of using those random yellow bits at the top is that they weren't the same length. So strictly speaking, so this is the second sock. It definitely has a bigger yellow bit at the top than the first sock, but I've chosen not to care. I wanted to use up the yarn. I don't think that it'll make that much of a difference. Obviously you can see it's only like a row or two. They're sisters, not twins. I'm okay with it. They have the same length rib. It's just more of it is yellow on one of the socks. And so yeah, those are going well. 64 stitch on 9-inch circulars. This is the Chowgu red lace, 2.25mm needles, a classic. I always have them. I pretty much finish a pair of socks and cast a new one on straight away, and that is this one. And I have some more. I have wound up a bunch of other little sort of half skeins because I want to, like, you can generally roughly make 2 pairs of socks from a skein depending on your leg and foot and everything. I can, basically, is what I'm saying. And so I have the remainders from my partner's socks. This is the remainders from my sister's socks, and then I've got another. I made myself these ones. I'm wearing them. Wow, this is not going to be the best angle. But these ones, which are Olivia and Oliver fibers, I have more of this yarn. Thank you for me turning this into a foot show. Put my shoe back on. So yeah, I've got the remainders from those socks and I want to knit them up into more socks. So that's my socks. And then I just need to grab some swatches so I can explain the next project. Okay, so I have a bunch of swatches. Some of them are techniques, some of them are swatches. I decided that I really wanted to knit I believe it's called the Asteroid Sweater by Knitting for Olive. They released this amazing sweater pattern. Well, I think it's super cool with a curved hem. And I was like, that's the coolest thing. And then I was trying to work out what I wanted to use for it. And I decided, so I have some Kinross 4-ply, which this is holding it double. And so I did my first swatch and I decided that it's lovely, but it's too dense. So then I did my second swatch, also holding it double, but now on a much bigger needle, or I think a 4. So this is on a 4, and I think this is on a 5. They're not the same number of stitches or anything, so you just have to look at the actual stitches. And I also haven't blocked this one. But overall, I decided I like this yarn better. I like the fabric better. I liked it sort of, it's much less rigid than this one. And so that's what I decided to go with. I then was trying to work out, the Knitting for Olive pattern is bottom up. I don't have time for that kind of thing. So I spent ages working out how to do it top down. So this is top down. I cast on here, I did some short rows, and then I was trying to work out how to get it to look like the way that they wanted it to look. And I have to say I'm pretty happy. I then forgot to take this with me on my adventures. So I did another one. Haven't blocked this one. Also, this is a very vibrant shade of yellow. But I also wanted to check that I could get it on both sides. So you sort of, you know, you want the stitches to be disappearing into there. You need to, there's, you know, short rows and increasing of stitches and that kind of thing. I haven't blocked this one and I'm pretty happy with it. But I still, I don't know, increases are just holier than decreases. That's the main reflection I've come to. And so none of these two are not in the actual yarn, these are just scraps, but this was me testing yarn. And so what I have ended up doing is casting on the Rue sweater by the Crabby in Kinross 4-ply on, are these 4mm? On 5mm needles. And as a result of that, I cast on the size 2, even though my measurements, if I was on anyway, I cast on size 2 because of my gauge. I measured the gauge and I worked out that the size 2 was where I should be with this new gauge. And here we are. It's looking grand. It is a contiguous shoulder construction. So you increase on the outside of this and then on the inside to make this arms. I think it looks fabulous. That's pretty similar to the April cardigan, which the fit of is just elite and I love it. I had one major issue, which is on the Rue sweater. I don't know if you're aware, it's a colorwork sweater. And so the pattern tells you how to do the colorwork. And that was fine, but the instructions, there was just like, I found it so hard to work out what was going on. There are 4 colorwork charts, and it's saying the chart order is A, C, B, D, or something like that, A, C, B, D. And then I'm looking at the chart, and it's just not making sense for me. C and D are these like long single row ones. A and B are these like triangle ones with increases. Actually, they must have been trapezoided, so they're going this way because you do it this way. And I was so confused. I was like, it's not making sense. That's too many rows. Like, I don't understand. And that's when I realized that A is the back. Then C is one of the raglans. B is the sleeve. D is the other raglan, and then you do that twice. And so it's a pattern, yeah, it's got the colorwork chart of the front, the raglan, the sleeve, and then the raglan, and that just didn't make sense to me. And then once I worked it out, I was fine. And all I really needed was the increase rate for the sleeves, because I'm obviously not doing colorwork. And it was like an hour of me just being like, I don't understand what's going on. I asked my partner, but he doesn't really understand knitting anyway, so that didn't really help. Anyway, once I figured it out, increases went fine. We are grand. We've split for sleeves. I've only done like 4 rows since we split for sleeves, but we've done it. And now I've got a conundrum. Do I continue with this plan and do the increases and all this other stuff to get it to do this? Or do I cast on the hem, do the hem bit, and then kitchen stitch it on? is it called Kitchener stitching? When you want it to look even, like as if I had cut out the middle and I was just gonna weave it back in. Because obviously this is like quite a pale yarn. Like if it was a navy, you might not be able to see the seam line, but in a yarn like this, I think if I hadn't done a perfect job, you might be able to see the seam line. And I just don't know whether or not, I'm happy with it like this. Like you see it's a bit wobbly, but that's also could be at least partly explained by the fact that I knit this 4 times and I kept making mistakes. And I have written myself notes, but they're like not perfect. I think I need to block this one and see how it goes. But like this part is obviously going, that looks awful. Those decreases, I'm not happy with them. But I don't know if I can like, because also that's like, oh yeah, I don't think this is a secret because this is not how the thing's actually knit. But this is where I have to turn because you're not adding them all the time. And so that's partly why it looks so weird, because that's also kind of a short row turn, like sort of kind of an end of row turn. And I just don't know what to do. Because yeah, I just don't think that this looks that great. But I also like, you know, on retrospect, if you look at the actual thing, part of it looks kind of weird. Or should I do it the way the pattern says and just like cast on at the bottom and then do like, as far as like looking at the pattern, you like cast on, then do your ribbing and do like decreases and stuff and then obviously you then don't have this bit and then you get it. Sorry, I'm trying to explain this without obviously explaining how the pattern works. That's my drama. I don't know what I want to do. I was like, I put all this effort in. This took hours of working. Not even the knitting didn't. The knitting probably took an hour, but the knitting didn't take hours. But they're like working out how to do it. The instructions are confusing, and it also like is a decrease. It's sort of I'm converting it from top down to bottom up, from bottom up to top down, and trying to work that out. So that's my current qualm. I don't know. The decreases look much better on this one. Possibly because it's been blocked and possibly because I just like the color better. Maybe one side, yeah, one side is better. That's the other thing. I don't know. Having a bit of a crisis about this one. Also, I don't know why I have so many ends to weave in. Anyway, that's where I'm up to. I'm not sure what I want to do. Any advice would be very welcome. I'm very excited to have this in, as you can tell, quite a long time. But that is my last, oh no, my second last. Oh, I have one more. But I need to work out what the pattern is called. I'm going to work that out. This is my last work in progress, new cast on. I have not made very much progress yet, but I am very happy with how it's going so far. This is the Askell shawl by Dererum Natura, and this is a gift knit for my grandmother. For Christmas, I had her in our family Kris Kringle, and I gave her these 2 balls of yarn. This is the zakami yarns. Suri alpaca in the color exordium, I believe. And this is a 4-ply yarn from Morris & Sons. I think it's just their like in-house 4-ply. It is a superwash, but it feels nice and I quite like the color match, and this just makes it so fuzzy and lovely. I'm using 4.5mm needles, which I think is what the pattern calls for, and I believe it should take, I've got more of this, and it should take 2 or 3 of these, I think. But I think it looks so cute. It's this very groovy shawl where this will go out here and then you keep going along and then there's another one and another one, and I don't remember how many you end up with. And then I will put a picture of it because I can't describe it. But this is a gift knit for my grandmother. I was going to knit her the Sophie shawl, and then I was watching a Laura Penrose video, and she's like mentioned this shawl, and I just thought, that's so cool. I really like how that works. I really like it's sort of Sophie Shawl-esque, but it's a bit different, it's a bit cool, and I think it looks fabulous. So yeah, very happy with how that's going, even if I've only just started it. And that is, yeah, that's my last whip. I've obviously not done very much. It took me a second, I had to restart twice, but it's done a few cool things that I hadn't seen. So looking at the back, this one here, the sort of edging comes to the front and you get new edging. I think that's very cool. And just overall, I'm very happy with how it's looking. So yeah, hopefully I can smash through that one and give it to my grandmother. Then I might have to knit myself one. I have to work out which of my yarns is acceptable. So yeah, that is my last whip. So only 5 active whips at the moment. Not mad about that. One of them is a sock, so it barely even counts. So yeah, those are all of my works in progress. I'm hoping to finish those ones off so I can work on a few new things. As I mentioned, I have some yarn. Basically, Laura Penrose is my spirit animal, and I really want to knit the the Midland cardigan. So groovy, I'm so excited. None of my current yarns I thought really were going to work for it, so I've got some Peer Gynt on the way, and as soon as that comes, I'm going to cast it on. So I'm hoping to finish off some of the other stuff I have going on so that I can just do that, no problems. But before then, sorry, I've put my acquisitions here, and it is a very cute little bunch. So this is, I already had this actually, and this is why I bought these ones. This is the Pasley Knits, I think it's Wazzy a Knob. This was the like accompanying skein for the yellow yarn, and I just didn't, it came as a sock set, and I only wanted the yellow because my sister loves yellow, and I like it, but I didn't like it as a combo with that one. So I thought I would make a little stripy, sort of ready, rusty sock. And in fairness, when you look at these ones together, this one looks out of place, but I'm gonna make it work. It's gonna be fine. These are also from Sally Ridgway. I just picked up a bunch of minis. They are in the color Burnt Copper, Amber, and Red Rock. And I think they're lovely, cute little minis. I think this will make a very cute little stripy sock. I've never knit a stripy sock before, but in my experience, stripy things go super fast. Partly because I'm like, I just want to do the next stripe. I just want to do the next stripe. So I'm very happy to, I don't know when this will come in my sock knitting, because I have a few, apparently I decided yesterday when I was winding up skeins that I was going to wind up enough for 3 other pairs of socks of like yarns that I already had. So I need to pick up my sock knitting, which is lucky. I'm going to be going into the office a bit more. So lots of train sock knitting time. And then these ones will come on. I think these will be grand. I think it's gonna be cute. So yeah, that is my only acquisition. I just didn't manage to go, I didn't go to any yarn shops over the sort of Christmassy period. There were a few that I wanted to go to, but they were closed. Like the 2 that I wanted to go to, one near with my partner's parents. There's a shop that I didn't know existed that I wanted to go, but they were closed because it was Christmas time, obviously. And another one in Canberra, they were moving. And so I have the plans, yeah, well, I've been very good so far. I'm really trying to work on knitting the yarn that I already have, you know, doing things like knitting my grandmother some yarn that I already have. But yeah, it's just so much to do, so much inspiration. It's so exciting. Hope you're having a good new year. I know lots of people have been posting everything that they knit in 2024 videos. I'm on the fence if I want to make one of those. I don't know. I will see how I feel, but I might get onto it next week if I get the inclination. I'm sure there will be more than I expect there to be. A year is a long time. But anyway, I hope you're having a good year so far. I hope you've had a nice January and you had a nice Christmas period. Yeah, and I will see you next time. Bye.